everybody, welcome to this week's video review session at No Bones About It Puppy Day School. So this week I want to focus on a couple things. One, our foundation game of Reward Zone, which I know one of the puppies, I worked on a little bit with it last week, and then the other one is a place cue. And by a place cue, I mean something like go to your bed, go to your spot, which really encompasses a lot of different aspects. It is learn to walk away from me, go to a place, lie down at that place, and not move till I give you permission. That's really complicated and requires a lot of different steps and a lot of longer attention spans, but I'm gonna show you how we start developing that skill, because it's so important to have a dog that is really good at just learning to chill out. And it's very helpful to have that be a specific place or a specific mat that we practice with, so that we develop that value for hanging out in that location, and then we can expand it to different locations. Also super helpful if you want to take your puppy out and about and go get coffee or go to dinner and at an outside cafe or something like that. You want to have them really confident and comfortable just laying down at your feet. So that being said, I'm going to go through a couple of the instruction parts, and then I'm going to show you how that works with all of your individual puppies. So for the first part, the reward zone, each foundation game has a really specific long-term goal. So name game, it really, again, is the foundation for all of our training, but because your puppy has to be able to stop when in the face of lots of distraction and pay attention to and find out what you need. So name game is really all encompassing, but it also is building the value for coming to you when you call. So we're going to get to that in a whole nother day. We'll spend a whole time, or we'll do one particular video on that. But that's really what name game is kind of prepping for that. Then we work on the reward zone, which is a stationary exercise. So it seems a little weird that we would build value for a stationary exercise that really is the foundation for walking, but that's kind of the way it works. It's like baby steps. What we want to do is, I've done a ton of different ways to teach leash walking, and most of them are super frustrating. They take a lot of patience, and they're, in my opinion, they're not that fun to work on. Reward zone is really fun to work on, I think, because you are not thinking about walking in the beginning. You're thinking about teaching your puppy to stay at your side, give you eye contact, and pay attention, and not want to leave this location. So we practice in lots of different environments that are not on our walks. Okay, so when we start to implement the reward zone, when we're out and about on a leashed walk, your dog should already be so good at this that they don't even think about it. And it's also something we only do for really short periods of time when we're out for leashed walks, because it does require an immense amount of concentration. So two other things that I want to point out about walks. Number one, if you have a dog that even pulls a little bit or stops all the time, you need to have a harness that has a clip in the center of the chest, okay? Not one on the top of the back. Common brands are Sensation, Easy Walk. You'll see I'm testing out a rough wear harness today on Leo that's a little bit more hefty, but they need to have an attachment point that is in the center of the puppy's chest. That teaches your puppy that as they pull forward, it turns their body back. You don't have to do any jerking or pulling, it just automatically does. And they don't like that. They want to keep moving forward. So it's important that if you have any kind of puppy that is inclined to want to pull forward or stop a lot, that you get one of those so that they're not getting to practice that behavior. The second point is, with a puppy, a walk is not just about a physical activity. It is a crazy amount of mental stimulation. And so it's really important that I do a lot of stopping and letting the puppy sniff. Now, that's a very different concept than letting your puppy pull over and sniff every time they feel like it, which would probably be all the time. So what I do is I try to do a little bit of walking, stop, have my puppy sit at my side, and then have a cue like, okay, go play or go sniff. And then allow them to investigate a particular area. It also might be a time when they take a little potty break, but I incorporate that every couple minutes into my walk. Think about it like a dog's version of social media. Taking a social media break, they are learning so much about what other animals have been around there, what other smells are there. They're like pulling so much information every time they stop and they sniff that mental stimulation is really important on their walks, as well as just physically getting out and moving. So we're doing a couple things on our walks. When we've been practicing our reward zone for a long time, we are incorporating that into like little 1-minute segments. And then we're also stopping and giving our puppy a cue like go play or go sniff. And then starting our walk again. And in between those things, I just have a rule, which is that you kind of stay on one side. You don't have to be right next to me. You're not zigzagging in front. You're not zigzagging in back. But you can just sort of be, okay? And that's kind of what the rest of our walks look like. So that's our brief description of some leash walking stuff. And then the other point that I'm going to get to is about our place cue, our go to your place. And I'm going to show you a few different methods to practice that and start building longevity for that. But it also requires your puppy to know how to lie down. So we've been working on that with all the puppies this week. Most of them cannot do it without some kind of show it step, meaning they are not fully on a verbal cue yet where I can just say down and they lay down. That'll happen pretty quickly. So I'm going to review all that with you with each puppy as we get going here. All right.